Headline: In 2025, a podcast broke the wall between Emma Raducanu's Fairytale and her nightmare. Imagine the scene. An 18-year-old girl wins the US Open like a breath of fresh air, becoming the first Briton in decades to claim a Grand Slam. The entire tennis world is ecstatic. But just a few years later, that fairy tale turns into a nightmare. And the person behind that nightmare is not a stranger. It is her father, Ian Raducanu. In 2025, Vladimir Platenik, one of Emma's former short-term coaches, spoke out in a shocking podcast. He didn't just recount what happened behind closed doors. He accused Ian Raducanu of using psychological tactics to manipulate, showering praise only to suddenly dismiss coaches, turning them into pawns in his hands. This isn't just a story about a revolving door of coaches. This is a direct look into a toxic environment where Emma Raducanu's mental health is hanging by a thread. Look, when a father takes on the role of managing his daughter's career with an iron fist, the line between love and control begins to blur. Platenik said that Ian created an unsustainable bubble where Emma was trapped between familial piety and professional freedom. Translation: a young girl is being burned out by pressure from the very person who should protect her the most. The question is, was Ian's interference the reason why Emma constantly suffered injuries, early losses, and continuous coach changes after the US Open? Or is this just one part of a larger story about the pressure young talents endure? And if you want to follow the untold stories in the tennis world, don't forget to subscribe to the Pro Tennis 360 channel, where we bring you the truth behind the trophies. Click subscribe now so you don't miss out. Headline: Emma's future. Can she truly break free? Emma Raducanu's story is not over. She is only 22 years old. She could have another 10 to 15 years of tennis career ahead of her. But the biggest question is, can she break free from Ian's shadow and achieve her full potential? Here's the reality. Emma is standing at a crossroads. On one hand, she has the genuine talent to become one of the greatest players of her generation. She proved that at the 2021 US Open. But on the other hand, she is fighting a toxic system that has damaged her mental health and career. Platenik, in the conclusion of the podcast, said, Emma has two choices. One is to continue living in Ian's shadow and slowly lose herself. The other is to regain complete control, even if that means cutting ties with her father. And that is a decision no one can make for her. And here's what makes this story so important. This is not just a story about Emma Raducanu. This is a story about any young talent enduring family pressure. This is a story about how easily the line between love and control can blur. This is a story about how the tennis system needs to change to protect athletes like Emma. Look, the tennis world failed Emma. The WTA failed. The media failed. Everyone focused only on wins and headlines, forgetting that Emma is a human being with feelings, fears, and a need for support. Translation: Emma's story is a wake-up call for the entire tennis industry. So, do you think Emma will break free? Or will she become another wasted talent? That is a question only time will answer. But one thing is certain: this story is not over. And we, those who follow tennis, have a responsibility to speak up and demand change. If you want to continue following Emma's story and the untold scandals in the tennis world, don't forget to subscribe to the Pro Tennis 360 channel. We don't just report the news. We delve into the truth that no one dares to speak. Click subscribe now so you don't miss the next exclusive content. And leave a comment below. Do you think Emma should completely cut ties with Ian? We want to hear your opinion. Headline: The fairy tale begins. From qualifier to US Open champion, Emma Raducanu stepped onto the world tennis stage in 2021 like a whirlwind. She was not a favorite player. She was a qualifier, an 18-year-old no one expected to go far. But she proved everyone wrong. The 2021 US Open was an unbelievable tournament. Emma didn't just win, she completely owned the stage, claiming the championship without dropping a single set. She became the first British woman to win a Grand Slam since Virginia Wade in 1977. At 18, she seemed invincible. Her composure on the court was matched only by her iron will. But hidden beneath the headlines, a storm was subtly brewing within her family dynamic. Ian Raducanu, her father, a Romanian-born financial executive, had always been the driving force behind Emma since childhood. He built an almost obsessive, rigorous training regimen for her. Insiders whispered about his iron fist, deciding every move from hiring coaches to the tournament schedule. Here's the thing. Emma wasn't a natural who suddenly became great at tennis. She was forged through years of relentless training. But was that forging too great a sacrifice? Or did it cross the line into exploitation? Emma's fairy tale began with the glory of the US Open. But what happened afterward is the truly worrying part. After the win, Emma didn't take off like a rocket. She suffered injuries, constant early losses, and she changed coaches once, twice, then 5 times in a couple of years. And after all this, in 2025, Vladimir Platenik spoke out. He opened the door to the world behind Emma Raducanu, a world that was not as glamorous as everyone imagined. Antagonist intro: Ian's controlling pattern. Headline: The father with the iron fist. Ian Raducanu and absolute control. Ian Raducanu is not an ordinary father. He is the type of father who celebrates big when his daughter wins. But when his daughter loses, he is the first to criticize. He is the father who always believes he knows best, and no one, not even top coaching experts, can change his mind. Vladimir Platenik, one of the coaches who worked with Emma, described this control as an iron hand hidden beneath a velvet glove. Initially, Ian seemed very open. He praised Platenik's training methods, built trust, making it feel like they were a team. But then suddenly, without warning, Ian dismissed Platenik with a cold text message. No clear reason. No meeting to explain. Just one sentence: "We don't need you anymore." Let's be real. This wasn't the first time Ian did this. After the 2021 US Open, Emma constantly changed coaches. Dmitry Tursunov? Gone after a few months. Torben Beltz? The same. Sebastian Sachs? Only worked for a few weeks. Each time, the reason given was vague, but insiders all pointed to one source: Ian Raducanu. Here's where it gets messy. Ian didn't just fire the coaches. He interfered with training strategies, disregarded recovery plans, and even decided which tournaments she should play, despite expert advice to the contrary. Translation: Ian was trying to control Emma's career as if she were a puppet, and the coaches were just temporary bridges for him to use and discard. And you know what's the most terrifying thing? Emma knew this. Insiders revealed that Emma tried to assert her autonomy, but was always overridden by Ian. She was stuck between respecting her father and controlling her own career. The question is, when does love become exploitation? Platenik revelation: the 2025 podcast bombshell. Headline: The 2025 podcast. Platenik breaks the silence and drops the evidence. Vladimir Platenik is not a person who usually stirs up trouble. He is a private, professional coach who always keeps his players' information confidential. But in 2025, when invited onto a tennis podcast, he decided to speak up. "I couldn't stay silent anymore," Platenik said with an emotional tone. "What I saw during my time with Emma, it wasn't right. And I think the tennis world needs to know the truth." Platenik started by recounting how Ian Raducanu approached him. Ian praised his training methods, saying he was exactly the person Emma needed. "He told me I was the best coach he had ever seen," Platenik recalled. "He made it feel like we were family." But after a few weeks of training, things started to change. Ian began to intervene in the practice sessions. He gave opinions on every movement, every tactical decision, even how Platenik spoke to Emma. "He wouldn't let me do my job," Platenik said. "Everything had to go through him first." And here's the kicker. One morning, Platenik received a text message from Ian. "Thanks for the help, but we decided to go in a different direction." No call, no meeting, just a cold text. Platenik described the feeling as being punched in the stomach. "I gave my heart to Emma. I saw her potential. But Ian used me as a tool. When he thought I was no longer useful, he threw me away." But what stunned the tennis community wasn't that Platenik was fired. It was what he revealed next. Platenik shared emails and messages Ian had sent, showing he used praise as a tool for control. Ian would shower praise when he wanted something, but immediately turn his back when he no longer needed it. Translation: Platenik said, Ian Raducanu is not a father protecting his daughter. He is a person destroying his daughter. Manipulation tactics exposed. Psychological analysis. Headline: Psychological tactics. When love becomes a weapon of control. Platenik didn't just stop at recounting his experience. He delved into a psychological analysis of how Ian Raducanu operates. And this is where the story gets scary. Ian uses a technique called intermittent reinforcement, Platenik explained. He praises you extremely enthusiastically to make you feel validated, then suddenly withdraws that support. This leaves you feeling constantly insecure, always striving to regain his approval. Let's be clear about what's happening here. This isn't tough coaching. This is pure manipulation. Ian used Emma's love for him, her belief that her father knows best, to control every aspect of her career. Platenik recalled that during practice sessions, Ian often stood outside the court, watching. If Emma performed well, Ian would nod and smile. But if she made a mistake, Ian would turn away, creating a feeling that she had disappointed him. Emma always looked toward her father after every point, Platenik remembered. She wasn't playing tennis to win. She was playing not to disappoint her father. And here's the tragic irony. Ian thought he was making Emma stronger. But in reality, he was destroying her self-confidence. Platenik shared a specific example. After a loss, Emma called Ian, crying and apologizing. Ian didn't comfort her. Instead, he said, "I told you so. You didn't listen to me." Translation: Ian was teaching Emma that every failure was her fault, and every success was thanks to him. This is the definition of a toxic relationship. You can imagine how this impacts a young athlete. Emma wasn't just facing pressure from the global tennis world. She was also facing pressure from the person who should have been her strongest support system. And that is a burden no one can carry for long. Platenik concluded, Emma Raducanu is one of the greatest talents I've ever seen. But if she doesn't break free from Ian's control, her career will never reach its full potential. Coaching turnover pattern, systemic damage. Headline: 5 coaches in 3 years, the pattern of chaos. After the 2021 US Open, Emma Raducanu changed coaches no fewer than 5 times in 3 years. 5. Let that sink in. That is not the sign of an athlete looking for the right fit. That is the sign of a system that is collapsing. Let's look at the timeline. Andrew Richardson, 2021 US Open coach, dismissed immediately after the win. Torben Beltz worked for a few months, then separated. Dmitry Tursunov, short partnership ended abruptly. Sebastian Sachs, only a few weeks. Vladimir Platenik, dismissed via text message. Each time there was a change, the reason given was vague. Not the right fit. Philosophical differences. But insiders all knew the truth. Ian Raducanu would not allow any coach to have real influence over Emma. Here's why this matters. In tennis, the player-coach relationship is crucial. You need time to build trust, develop tactics, and create psychological stability. But Emma didn't have that chance. Every time she started to get comfortable with a coach, he disappeared. And you know what the worst part is? Emma knew this wasn't right. Insiders revealed that Emma privately talked to some coaches, expressing frustration about Ian's interference. But she didn't dare speak publicly. Why? Because Ian is her father, and she didn't want to be seen as the rebellious daughter. Let's be honest. This constant coach turnover didn't just affect tactics. It destroyed psychological stability. Every time Emma started to trust someone, that person was gone. What did she learn from that? That no one stays for long. That she can't rely on anyone but her father. And that is exactly what Ian wanted. Translation: Ian was isolating Emma, making her completely dependent on him. This is not love. This is control. And the result? Emma's performance declined noticeably. After the US Open, she did not win another Grand Slam. She suffered constant injuries, and her ranking dropped from the top 10 to outside the top 50. This is not a coincidence. This is a direct consequence of an unsustainable working environment. Headline: The tears on the court. Emma's mental health is pushed to the limit. If you watch Emma Raducanu's interviews after the 2021 US Open, you'll see a clear change. The confident, radiant 18-year-old girl is now replaced by a young person with tired eyes, a shaky voice, and short answers. In a 2023 interview, Emma cried on television while talking about the pressure. "I don't know how to please everyone anymore," she said with a choked voice. "I feel like I'm failing everyone." Let's pause for a second. This is a 20-year-old girl who just won a Grand Slam, talking about feeling like a failure. That shows the level of pressure she is enduring. Platenik shared that during his time with Emma, he often saw her fall into a state of anxiety before matches. She wasn't afraid of the opponent. She was afraid of disappointing her father, he said. That is the worst thing that can happen to an athlete. And here's where it gets heartbreaking. Emma began to show symptoms of burnout, extreme fatigue, loss of motivation, and constant, unexplained injuries. Doctors said that many of Emma's injuries were stress-related. Translation: her body was reacting to the psychological pressure by breaking down. In a 2024 match, Emma had to retire midway due to difficulty breathing. Medical experts later confirmed it was a panic attack. A 21-year-old athlete having a panic attack on the court. Let that sink in. You can imagine how terrifying that must be. You are standing in front of thousands of spectators, cameras everywhere, and suddenly you can't breathe. That is not just match pressure. That is the pressure of having to live in an environment where every mistake is viewed as a failure. Platenik said he tried to talk to Ian about Emma needing psychological support, but Ian refused. He said Emma didn't need a therapist. She just needed to train harder, Platenik recalled. Translation: Ian viewed mental health as a sign of weakness, not a crucial part of an athletic career. And that is a deadly mistake. Emma is now 22. She won a Grand Slam, but instead of being celebrated as a star, she is fighting internal demons that no one can see. Headline: Tennis world in uproar. This isn't just Emma's problem. It's a systemic problem. Platenik's podcast didn't just cause a stir because of the content. It caused a stir because it opened up a larger discussion. How can the tennis world protect young talents from family pressure? After the podcast was released, a series of former athletes spoke out. Andy Murray, the British tennis legend, tweeted, "Too many young talents are destroyed by the people who should be protecting them. We need better support structures." Martina Navratilova, one of the greatest legends, wrote, "I've seen this pattern too many times. Parents become managers, and the line between love and control disappears. Emma Raducanu deserves better." And here's where things get interesting. The WTA Women's Tennis Association released a statement that they are looking into new policies to protect young athletes. But insiders say this is just PR. The WTA has no real mechanism to intervene in family relationships. Let's be real. The problem here is not just Ian Raducanu. It's a system where parents are allowed to become managers without any oversight. It's a culture where success is prioritized over mental health. It's an environment where young athletes are treated as products, not people. Think about it. If Emma was an employee in a company and Ian was her boss, Ian's behavior would be considered workplace harassment. But because Ian is her father, no one can do anything. Here's what makes this story absolutely crucial. This is not the first case. Jennifer Capriati, a major talent in the 90s, also suffered family pressure, leading to burnout and serious personal issues. Mary Pierce, a Grand Slam champion, had to separate from her father due to excessive, controlling behavior. Emma is not an exception. She is part of a recurring pattern. Translation: The tennis world has known about this problem for decades, but they haven't done anything to stop it. And that's why Emma's story is so important. Platenik concluded his podcast with a call to action. We need change, not just for Emma, but for all the young talents trapped in similar situations. Headline: The Silent Signs. Emma begins to regain control. Amidst all the drama, there is one notable thing. Emma Raducanu is not completely silent. She is not publicly confronting Ian, but she is taking small, strategic steps to regain control of her career. In early 2024, Emma started traveling alone to tournaments. Previously, Ian always accompanied her, but now she often appears with a small team consisting of a coach and a physical therapist, without Ian. Insiders say this was a deliberate move. And here's where it gets interesting. Emma also started hiring an independent personal manager, not Ian. This manager is responsible for handling sponsorship contracts and tournament schedules. Translation: Emma is slowly separating professional decisions from Ian's control. In a 2024 interview, Emma said a very meaningful sentence: "I'm learning to listen to myself more." This sentence sounds simple, but it says a lot. Emma is saying that she is no longer listening only to Ian. Let's be clear. Emma cannot publicly cut off the relationship with Ian. He is her father, and in British culture, where family is highly valued, such a move would cause a major scandal. But she is doing something smarter. She is gradually reducing Ian's influence without causing a fuss. Platenik in the podcast praised Emma for this. She is stronger than people think. She is not giving up. She is finding a way to survive and regain control, he said. And you know what the best part is? Emma started working with a sports psychologist. After years of Ian rejecting this, Emma made the decision herself to seek psychological support. Insiders say this has made a significant difference in how she approaches matches. In her most recent tournament, Emma had an impressive win. After the match, she was asked about her secret. She smiled and said, "I stopped trying to please everyone. I play for myself." Translation: Emma is learning to separate Ian's approval from her own self-worth. And that is the first step toward healing. But the journey is still long. Ian is still a part of her life, and the pressure remains. But Emma is fighting, and that is the most important thing.